This is Axis and Insights. Today we're diving into a geopolitical showdown that sounds like it was dreamed up during a particularly bad episode of a high-stakes reality show. Only this isn't fiction, it's real life. Picture this. While you were busy arguing over who gets the last slice of pizza at dinner, the United States and the European Union are locked in a fierce tug-of-war over Ukraine's critical mineral resources. Yes, you heard that right. Minerals, because nothing says power politics quite like a battle over lithium, graphite, and niobium. Let's break it down from the very beginning. On February 24th, the news broke that President Zelensky and President Trump were in secret negotiations. But, and here's the kicker, they weren't chatting about how to end the war with Russia. Instead, the conversation pivoted to Ukraine's treasure trove of rare earth minerals, the stuff that fuels modern technology, defense systems, and apparently Trump's appetite for making bold, border-crossing deals. Now, Trump wasn't mincing words. He laid down the law like a drill sergeant in a world where diplomacy has clearly taken a vacation. His demand was simple, yet ruthless. Ukraine must hand over access to its critical minerals, or else the U.S. will bypass Kyiv entirely and deal directly with Putin. In other words, instead of offering Ukraine a dignified exit from the war, Trump's administration effectively told Kyiv, "We're about to put you in the corner, and if you don't dance to our tune, we'll handle it our way." And this wasn't just polite negotiation gone awry, it was a full-on power play. The American proposal demanded, initially, a staggering 50% share of all rare earth minerals in exchange for the U.S., providing military and economic aid that Trump claimed totaled $500 billion, though Ukrainian officials prefer the much humbler figure of $100 to $120 billion. Regardless of the actual numbers, the message was clear. If Ukraine doesn't sign on the dotted line, American support evaporates, leaving Ukraine with nothing but shattered pride and a depleted resource cabinet. As if that weren't enough, in a move that can only be described as Trump in his natural habitat, the U.S. president then picked up the phone and had a direct call with Putin. Yes, you heard that right. Rather than waiting for some grand international summit, Trump had a candid chat with Putin where he laid it on thick. America's interests come first. The traditional American pledge to support Ukraine, tossed aside like last week's leftovers. Instead, Ukrainian minerals were suddenly being treated like collateral, an asset to be controlled to secure U.S. strategic interests. There was zero subtlety here. It was like watching a masterclass in blunt force diplomacy. And then, as if the global chessboard wasn't complicated enough, Europe stepped in. European leaders, long champions of Ukraine's right to determine its own destiny, reacted with a mix of outrage and urgency. They recognized that if the U.S. forces Ukraine into this lopsided minerals deal, it would not only strip Kyiv of its future economic wealth, but also undermine the entire transatlantic security framework. On February 25th, European Commissioner Stéphane Séjourné publicly announced an alternative deal, one that promised Ukraine greater control over its mineral resources while ensuring mutual benefits for Europe. In his characteristically measured tone, Séjourné declared, "The added value Europe offers is that we will never demand a deal that is not mutually beneficial." Quite a contrast to the one-sided, my way or the highway approach of the American proposal. So here we have a battle of two very different philosophies. On one side, Trump's deal isn't about negotiation. It's about wielding American power like a sledgehammer, using billions in past aid as leverage to extract resources. Ukrainian President Zelensky made his stance crystal clear by saying, "I cannot sell our state," while in press conferences, he underlined that any deal sacrificing Ukraine's sovereignty is simply not on. After some high-pressure negotiations, a redrafted American deal emerged. Although it backed off from demanding a $500 billion revenue share, it still fell short of delivering the security guarantees Ukraine desperately needs to fend off further Russian aggression once a ceasefire is on the horizon. Let's be very clear. Critical minerals like lithium, graphite, niobium, and cobalt aren't just industrial byproducts. They are the lifeblood of our modern economy. They power our electric vehicles, our smartphones, our advanced defense systems. Ukraine, with 21 out of the 30 rare earth minerals classified as critical raw materials by the EU, holds a 5% share of the world's reserves. For both the US and Europe, controlling these resources is like holding the keys to the future of technology and military might. In a word, Trump's approach has cornered Ukraine. By forcing a minerals deal on terms that effectively diminish Ukraine's control over its own natural wealth, the US isn't just undermining Ukrainian sovereignty, it's sending a chilling message to Europe and to Ukraine alike. This is power politics at its most raw and unvarnished. The US is making it clear our strategic interests trump traditional alliances, and we're prepared to act unilaterally if we have to. European reactions have been a mix of outrage and caution. Many European leaders see Trump's maneuver as a betrayal of the multilateral principles that underpin transatlantic relations, warning that sidelining Ukraine in such a critical deal will weaken Europe's overall security architecture. Yet, voices like former UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson have even praised the American approach, suggesting that gaining access to Ukraine's minerals is a great prize and a necessary step to secure America's economic future. The reality, however, is murkier. The US deal offers little in the way of mutual benefit, while Europe's alternative promises a more balanced approach. Ultimately, this minerals deal is a microcosm of a larger global power reordering. Under Trump, the US has reasserted its dominance by making uncompromising deals, while the EU strives to uphold multilateralism and mutual gain. Meanwhile, Russia watches intently, ready to pounce on any fissures in the alliance. There are no clear heroes here, only nations acting in their own self-interest. So, what does this all mean for Ukraine? Caught in the crossfire of American blunt force diplomacy and Europe's cautious cooperative approach, Ukraine now has to navigate a precarious tightrope. This deal isn't just about economics, it's about shaping the future balance of power in the region. Let's be blunt. There's no room for diplomatic niceties here. This is realpolitik in its rawest form. Trump's aggressive push for control over Ukraine's mineral wealth leaves no possibility for a face-saving escape for Ukraine. It's a calculated strategy designed to secure American interests by any means necessary, even if it means undermining Ukrainian sovereignty and destabilizing long-standing alliances. So, what do you think? Will these mineral deals redefine the strategic landscape of the Ukraine conflict? Is President Zelensky masterfully using these deals to secure international support, or is he being forced into an undignified corner by Trump's uncompromising tactics? And how will Europe's response reshape transatlantic security for years to come? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the wild world of international politics.